Death becomes visible when Vlad faces the monster everyone else fears. Spoilers ahead for this Korean manhwa recap. Vlad began as a boy from the dirty underside of a bright northern city, but swordsmanship dragged him into nobles, monsters, magic, and buried mysteries. By this point, he rides with Noir, carries a strange connection to the voice inside his sword, and keeps being tested by the question every knight has to answer: will he use power for status, payback, or protection? That question begins in a dark forest and follows him all the way to an elf trade route where a supposed bandit is waiting. The forest battle turns into pure terror as Vlad stands before a purple-black monster while wounded allies shout for help somewhere in the chaos. The creature is not just strong, it feels like a walking execution, filling the battlefield with violent energy while everyone around it loses control of the situation. Vlad reaches the edge of death so closely that it almost becomes a place he can see. A dark horse-like apparition appears in that borderland, and instead of breaking, Vlad remembers the strange world once opened to him by the voice tied to his sword. That memory changes everything. He stops dodging blindly, reads the path where danger will strike, and gathers blue-white lightning around his blade. His sword is no longer only survival. It becomes a vow to stand for people who cannot stand alone. The monster keeps pressing forward, and Vlad should be too exhausted to turn the fight around. Then Noir proves that he is far more than a loyal mount. The black horse is wounded and strained, yet when strange magic gathers near him, he does not simply panic or flee. He bites into that light, almost swallowing the power that should have been impossible for an ordinary animal to touch. Vlad sees the shift instantly. The enemy's overwhelming force now has a weakness, and with Noir beside him, that weakness can be cut. He rides back into danger, calling on Noir as golden-white radiance builds around his strike. The blow breaks the monster's pressure and clears the way to the terrified child. After all that violence, Vlad's first real ending is simple: he finds the child and promises to bring her home. After the rescue, Vlad's victory becomes something quieter but heavier. He leaves Soara through the snow on Noir, carrying a small personal banner that makes people look at him differently. He is not just a boy escaping the city's darkness anymore. He is someone stepping into the world under his own mark. Familiar figures watch his departure from a distance, and Gerdik catches up because he refuses to let Vlad ride out alone. Vlad does not have a clean destination, but he does have a pull: the east, the memory of a world in a tree, and the silence left behind by the voice. At the same time, the story widens toward Devours, a poor land where stolen barley seeds threaten hunger. Forest spirits stir there, and a red-cloaked Radu Dragulia arrives like trouble wearing a noble name. Devours is already suffering before Radu's presence makes it feel even colder. The settlement is surrounded by snow, soldiers, officials, villagers, and red Dragulia banners that turn a local crisis into something ceremonial and dangerous. The stolen seeds are not treated like a simple theft. In a poor territory, losing seed means losing the next harvest, and losing the next harvest means people may starve when spring comes. Around that human fear, the land carries a spiritual unease, with forest imagery and small spirit-like presences suggesting that the problem has roots deeper than politics. Radu stands at the center of this tension, noble and unsettling, while the Dragulia thread hints that protection may demand blood. The resemblance between pale Dragulia features and Vlad's own look makes the warning feel personal before Vlad even reaches that stage. Radu then enters Tanobo's political cage, where Count Vitskaya tests him with polished cruelty. The Count questions his age, his dragon slayer reputation, and whether he has the right to carry symbols connected to the dragon killer knights. Radu answers that he is newly 18, that the dragon incident happened when he was 17, and that Sir Musa Dragulia gave permission for the banner. The Count insults him privately as a northern barbarian and threatens to make Tanobo his grave if the story is false, but Radu does not flinch. That calm makes him harder to dismiss. Then Radu reveals why he came. Devours' forest held a wicked monster that should not exist there, and similar signs have appeared in the north. The Count lends him a reporting crystal, then secretly orders his people to investigate Radu instead of only the monster. While Radu is being weighed as a threat, Vlad becomes useful in a different way. Count Vitskaya's people confirm that Vlad's skill is beyond the central knights left in Tanobo, and the Count realizes he misjudged the young swordsman. So he shifts tactics, hosting Vlad over rare elven tea and turning hospitality into a negotiation. The tea is incredibly valuable because it comes from distant forests and has become a luxury among powerful circles, but Vlad quickly understands the real point: nobles do not give kindness for free. The Count sees Vlad's worth after the Selima dragon incident and wants to spend that value on a caravan problem. Elven goods are being attacked on the trade route, and normal escorts have failed. Vlad accepts, asking not only for payment, but for travel support, supplies, and a chance to see the wider world. Vlad's group reaches the Elves' trading spot expecting a controlled exchange, but the forest immediately feels like elf territory. The guards are told to wait and keep quiet, while the negotiators head into the hut with payment. The humans believe House Vitskaya's connection to the elves is their lifeline, yet the meeting shows how fragile that lifeline really is. A blue-haired elf refuses the offered terms and makes it clear the tea trade is becoming bigger than one local arrangement. The central nobles want elven goods, other lords may want direct trade, and the elves know their leverage is rising. Then the elf notices the strange person lying near the carriage, Vlad. His hidden presence draws attention, and before Vlad can respond, he is pulled into a golden dreamlike world connected to the voice, where a white-haired elf-like figure points toward a glowing object in butterfly-like light. When Vlad returns from that golden world, the elves treat him with a respect that only makes the mystery deeper. The white-haired girl is overwhelmed by the object connected to him, and when she reaches for the tea he accepts, another elf immediately stops her. No clear explanation follows, so Vlad leaves with more questions than answers. The blue-haired elf gives him goodwill, hints at a future chance to visit Elflands, and tells him to bring the amber that caught the girl's interest. Then the caravan moves on through the dangerous route before sunset. Vlad takes command, places guards around the carriage, and thinks through the trap like a real escort leader. A normal bandit would run from this many armed men. Instead, fog swallows the canyon, a pebble pierces armor with impossible force, and Vlad realizes the attacker is not a petty thief at all. He is a knight. This is the point where Vlad's growth stops being only about stronger attacks. He learns to read death, trust Noir, carry his own banner, and accept work that forces him to protect people beyond his personal circle. At the same time, the world around him expands fast. Radu brings Dragulia bloodline danger. Debreki brings starvation and spirits. Tanobo brings nobles who smile while calculating profit. The elves bring a mystery tied directly to the voice and the strange inner world Vlad cannot fully explain. And the final ambush matters because it mirrors Vlad's own identity. He came looking for a raider, but the enemy waiting in the fog is another knight, which means this fight may test not just his sword, but his idea of what a knight should be. Subscribe for the next manhwa recap, because Vlad's escort mission has become a knight versus knight trap.